Federal authorities are now scrambling to find out how genetically modified wheat created by biotech giant Monsanto ended up in an Oregon wheat farm. Today we learned that Japan, one of America's biggest trade partners, has suspended imports of American wheat. Other countries say they are also closely monitoring the situation. Over the weekend, organic food activists rallied in dozens of cities in this country as part of a global day of action against the company. Monsanto insists that its genetically modified products are safe and help farmers get more from their land while saving water and energy. Dave Murphy is the founder of Food Democracy Now! He joins me live. Dave, good to see you. I want to read something for our viewers. This is something that you recently wrote about Monsanto in the Huffington Post. You said in part, quote, "The march to stop Monsanto is one of the most pressing issues of our time. The products they produce, genetically engineered foods and chemical weed killers, are in more than 70% of the processed foods that we eat and feed our families every day." I don't know if a lot of folks have necessarily heard of Monsanto. Start by explaining to our viewers why there has been such a grassroots movement against the company.
Sure. Listen, Monsanto is the world's largest chemical and biotech seed company on the planet. They have a real long history of producing very toxic products to the environment, PCBs, dioxin, and Agent Orange. And now they're producing the food that's on our plates. For the past 20 years, they've been allowed to write the rules and regulations to not allow Americans to have the basic right to know what's in their food, to label genetically engineered foods. Last year in California, Prop 37, which is a ballot initiative to pass statewide labeling of genetically engineered foods in California, the largest state in the union, it failed narrowly by 353,000 votes. We won 48.6% of the vote. Monsanto spent $8.1 million to defeat us. The fact is, we won that victory. It was a moral victory we won. 6 million California voters turned out to vote for labeling of GMOs. Really
quickly here, the genetically modified wheat that was developed by Monsanto, it was never approved by the federal government, but lots of other groups like corn, like soy, those have been. The FDA has found that they are safe to eat. Is the FDA wrong?
Oh. Listen, it's debatable. It's a highly controversial topic. I would say the FDA does not do independent peer-reviewed studies of these crops. They allow these corporations to submit their own studies during the approval process. And if you ask me, I call it cigarette science. It's outrageous. They are doing this. Monsanto and the biotech company is doing the same thing the tobacco industry did for 40 years. They're not telling the truth about the real science behind their product. And that's one of the reasons why almost over 1 million people turned out in 400 events globally across the planet. One, they're tired of the way Monsanto abuses our basic democratic practice. And in March, Congress passed and President Obama signed into law a continuing resolution, but it contained a provision in there, Section 735, which I call the Monsanto Protection Act. It's widely known as the Monsanto Protection Act, to give Monsanto protection from courts while their products are under judicial review.
Dave Murphy, we'll have to leave it there. Dave Murphy, Food Democracy Now! Dave, thank you. The family of Joe Paterno files suit against the NCAA. That tops our look at stories around the news nation today. The suit claims the organization violated its own rules by handing out penalties following the Jerry Sandusky child sex abuse case. Attorneys for the family say that the penalties were based on an FBI report and not an independent investigation. Fellow